morning, good afternoon, good evening. Oh my God. I don't know why I'm saying afternoon. It's because I was rushing to get logged in and it wasn't allowing me to come in straight away. I was all prepared and ready and it threw me a curveball at the last minute and threw me off. I hate being late, but welcome. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to let people get logged in. Because this is a really, hey, I can see you all logging in now. Give me some hearts as you're getting in. It's a really important live video for me tonight because it's the launch of something really special for me, and hopefully it's going to become really special for you too. Something that's very close to my heart, something that was divinely inspired, which I'm going to share with you the story of that in a second. I'm going to just give a few more people opportunity to get in. I've got some notes in front of me because I literally don't want to miss a thing today. I want to make sure I capture everything. So guys, how was your Christmas? Start by commenting and letting me know what you did for Christmas and how it was for you. I absolutely loved this Christmas. It was amazing. It was so chilled. We went skiing. I spent most of the time on my bum, but not all of the time on my bum. So I'm pretty proud to say I did have some successful ski lessons and I managed to stand up for a while going down the slope. So that was a big achievement, big win for me. I'll definitely be going back. I ached like a bitch, but I loved it. And it made me feel a little less guilty for everything that I was eating. I had a proper binge and I've started my health kick on the 1st of January. So what about you? How was Christmas? I'm looking at your comments as you're coming in. Thank you guys for letting me know you're here. Give me a hashtag live if you're logging in live. Give me a hashtag replay if you're watching this on replay. And either way, thank you for taking the time. And give me a hashtag newbie if this is the first time. Hey Sarah. Hi everybody. If this is the first time you've ever logged in to one of these live series, I'd love to hear from you. Okay. So, something a little bit different. Those of you that have been following me for a while will know that, hey Ollie, we've got a guy on the call. That doesn't happen very often. Hey Andrea, Sarah. I'm going to stop saying hello to everybody now. I'm sorry if I've missed you, but I'll never get anything out if I just sit here saying hey. So, a lot of you will know that I've been running a regular live series on a Sunday night normally. And it was to provide a space for female entrepreneurs to learn and grow in the area of success in business. It was to share some insights and knowledge that I've had the pleasure of. Are you guys, can you hear me? Someone just said they couldn't hear me. Let me know you can hear me in the chat box just so I know that it's definitely not my issue. I'll keep talking. But yeah, let me know. So sharing knowledge and tips and insights. Now some of the core principles and beliefs and philosophies that I base those insights around is that I believe every woman has the ability, regardless of background, culture, size, confidence level, yada, yada, yada. I believe everybody has the ability to create outrageous success for themselves, abundance on another level, wealth in every area of your life. And when I say that, I mean wealth in the bank, I mean wealth in love, I mean in every area, in time. And I believe that because I've created that for myself. I'm not saying my life's perfect, my business is perfect, I'm not saying I'm a finished product, I'm far from that, and I'm far from achieving everything that I want to. I've still got loads of things to tick off. But I've learned a few things in the process of building $1 million business online and living a really great life, more importantly than all of that, you know, living in the home that I want to live in the location and having the time to spend doing the things that I want to, but also the financial resource to make the memories that I want to make in the locations I want to make them. I've been blessed to do a lot of travelling. And because I've been blessed doing all of those things and learned how to provide that for myself, I really wanted to provide a space here to help women, other women do that too. Another philosophy that's built on is that we don't have to choose. We don't have to choose between great relationships and money, time and money, spending time with our kids and money, being a good person and money, and any other thing that we might believe about money doesn't have to be true for us. And I've had to smash some of those beliefs wide open to achieve the things that I have, and I know it's possible for you too. But the other philosophy that everything I do is based on, that I've left out a lot, is the philosophy that we are a piece of source. Call it universe, God, Allah, whatever it is that you call it isn't important, but what I believe is that we are a piece of that source, and we have that inside of us. It exists in all of us, and when we find the ability to tap into it, think of it like an energy source that contains infinite potential, and everything we want, desire, crave, need in our lives is possible when we're tapped into it. If I describe it like that to you, then that, you know, for me has played a massive part in my success. My success in business and money and love and the life that I live now has been very much a spiritual journey. And I have been leaving that out a little bit. Not entirely. I've not been completely in the closet. I think most of you that have followed my work will have heard me talk about the universe. You'll have heard me talk manifestation. But I've not been really doing it justice. You see, what I've been doing is I've been doing it all on the inside and then not delivering it so much on the outside. I've been reaping the rewards of all of my internal work and that deep connection to source, but then calling it mindset on the outside. I've almost delivered all of my trainings covering 2 areas because I know, and I've said over and again, and I believe that they're important, and that is business strategy, you need it, and I've called it mindset. But it's so much more than mindset. What I've been doing behind closed doors isn't mindset, it's connectedness. It's working on my spiritual self, it's working on my higher self, it's tapping in to that energy field where anything is possible. It's way deeper than mindset, but I've not been calling it that. I've been doing you an injustice. I've been doing myself an injustice. I've been doing the universe an injustice by doing that. I wasn't ready. I was scared of being judged. I guess there was a lot of fears going on, but none of them I'd recognised. Not consciously anyway. What I want to share with you tonight is what's led me to start this new channel, this live series every week, Soul-Centered Millionaire TV. And that name, I want to give a shout out to Joanne Jones because she came up with that name, and that's included in my story today because something really transformative happened over the Christmas period. And it's something that is a vulnerable share. It's woo-woo, it's not for everybody. But I want to share it with you because I need to start this live series with absolute truth. And this is the absolute truth on why I'm here tonight doing what I'm doing. And why I've had this, not change, because you're still going to be getting the normal no BS business strategy that I always serve up a dose of every week, but it's going to be sprinkled with magic because the magic is what's made the biggest difference and we don't want to leave it out anymore. So what's led me to this? So what's this transformative experience that gives me goosebumps, like as I'm talking about it now? I feel alive as I'm talking about this. I feel like something almost steps in and supports me when I decide to step up and share these things because, and it really made itself known over the Christmas period, and that's what I'm going to share with you. And I've got some notes because I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything at all. So there are times, right, when it's challenging. It's challenging to be high vibration, and if we're not high vibration, we're not excited, happy and feeling all of the wonderful feelings that are good, then it's difficult to tap into source because source is like the ultimate vibration. It's the highest vibration ever. Love. I believe it's just love, pure love. When we're operating on low vibrational frequencies like in fear, hate, anger, upset, hurt, any of those things, we're further away from the infinite pure love that is source. So it's difficult to hear it, it's difficult to listen, to tap in, to take guidance. Now that's harder sometimes because I don't know about you, this is why I love to train women, because we're just like, we're cut from the same cloth, you know, and I'm going to say this now to a nearly all woman audience, and I don't mind if there's men listening at all, but just know that I talk about woman stuff sometimes. I find it really difficult around that time of menstruation. You know, I find it really difficult around that time of the month to be sometimes totally connected. It's not impossible, it's just harder. I find that I can become scared, confused, angry, irritable, which makes it just that little bit more difficult to have that connection. And that's an example of one of the times you might feel like that. So I went through a quite a long period of disconnection, and I want to share that with you and how it led me to starting this channel today. So in September last year, it was around September time that it started, maybe just before, but I only really remember it in September. And from September onwards till the end of the year, I had this series of like just challenging person after challenging person come into my life and test me. And I was faced with a lot of negativity and in some way jealous behaviour, and people lashing out at me, almost holding me responsible for their lives and success, and like there was a lot of stuff. And it was all people, they're not bad people, none of these people are bad, but it was all people that that were stuck in fear, ego, had lost connection to their true self, their higher self. They were out of alignment. But what's really interesting is they were also people that claimed to be spiritual. They were people that were spiritual teachers or had that in their title, intuitive or intuition coaches, or people that had the persona of being someone deeply spiritual were suddenly coming at me with this really negative energy and treating me in such a way that for me wasn't acceptable, and in a way that I wouldn't treat someone else. And it kind of, without me realising it, let me just be clear, this wasn't a conscious decision. This series of different people unconsciously made me neglect my own connection to source and alignment, because I was kind of just getting all like, to the word alignment. Like, I'm sick of hearing all these people that aren't aligned talk about alignment. I'm sick of hearing all these spiritual teachers talk about this stuff and then be something different on the back end. It's bullshit. And I was getting angry. And here's the thing about thought. It's subtle. It's really subtle at first. It's just a series of small thoughts. None of this I verbalised. None of this I consciously arrived at a place where I made a decision. I just started to have these thoughts. I'm sick of that word alignment. There's another one. That's one of those people that uses those words. And now they've attacked me and treated me in such a way. And it started to eat away at me a little bit. Someone calling themselves an alignment coach and then doing something like this. And there was a series of these little things. So because I was having these thoughts over and over, I was starting to, because what happens is thoughts subtle, but repeatedly they turn into belief. Belief forms the action. So what had happened was the subtle thoughts had started to form this belief that connection to universe was, I'm sick of it, or like it wasn't a conscious thought, but it was something I was disengaging from slowly. Before you know it, I'd disengaged so much that I'd become out of alignment. It's no wonder I was being challenged by all these other people that were out of alignment, because I was myself. We get more of what we are. We get more of the thoughts that we think, because a thought emits a vibrational frequency and it calls in anything else that is on that frequency. Fact, it's just fact. If this stuff's new to you and you don't get it, I know it might, at first it did for me when I first started learning about this stuff, and I understand that, but bear with me, stay with me, research it, because it's truly life-changing when you embrace it. And for me, I'd embraced it a long time ago, but I'd been challenged by it. A couple of other things happened, personal things that affected my family. A family member that was very dear to me was affected by something personal and tragic, and that rocked my belief in there being this force and source that's anything but love. Because I'm like, how could this happen to a good person? And it was all subtle, but it was there, and it was affecting me. And it was stopping me from doing the little things that I'd always done. The things that I'd done to stay tapped in, the meditations, the guided writing, which I'll come to in a minute. I'd stopped doing them, I'd lost disconnection, I'd lost alignment. So it's no wonder that by December, at the end of the year, having lived with a whole quarter quarter of the year had gone by like this, I felt exhausted, I felt burnt out, it felt like everything was hard. Everything that was effortless in the first half of the year suddenly was hard. I hadn't changed anything, hadn't changed processes, I hadn't changed strategies, nothing. Only thing I'd changed without even realising it is I'd stopped working on my connection to my true self, my higher self, my spiritual growth. I'd stopped. And suddenly it felt like everything was difficult. You know, when you're running on a treadmill with a steep incline, it felt like I was on one of those, whereas before I was kind of floating. But nothing had changed other than that. So I got to the end of the year and I could not wait for a break. I was dying to take time off. I was saying things like 3 more days to go, and that's not me. I have experienced so much joy in my work on a daily basis. I'm the sort of person that genuinely feels on purpose in my work. I jump out of bed and I look forward to my day and the people that I'm working with, but I'd become like really blah, is the only way to describe it, just blah for everything. And I put it down to the fact that I just needed a break. Still didn't make the connection because I hadn't made time to ask myself what was really going on, and I'd neglected that part of myself. So here's what transpired as a result. It's incredible. So one of my beautiful clients, Ellen Van Hove, who I believe is listening to this live, I did drop her a message earlier and say I'm going to be talking about you tonight. She sent me a message just before we broke up for the Christmas period. Now, Ellen is a Kundalini and sacred wealth expert. So Kundalini is like a life force energy. It's very spiritual. You might not have even heard of Kundalini. Amazing teachings, ancient teachings on tapping into this incredible life force, that the infinite potential that I was talking about. That's what Kundalini is about. And Ellen's incredible. She's deeply tapped into this, and she's a channel for this work. So she can meditate, tap in and channel messages. You know, she can use her soul in meditation to communicate with somebody else's soul to find out what they need to know. And I've not tapped into any of Ellen's work other than being her business coach. And I know about her business because of that, and we've worked together for a while now. But she messaged me to offer me a gift, and I'm so grateful to her because she said to me, Michelle, I'd love to do you a painting. And what Ellen provides is like a painting that's full of intention. So she takes what you want to achieve and she puts the energy of what you want into the painting as a constant energetic reminder for where you're going and what you need to do to get it. So it's a very deeply spiritual process in terms of, you know, creating this painting, and she offered to do one for me as a gift, as a thank you. And obviously I jumped at the chance and I was really excited. And a couple of days before we broke up for Christmas, she said, can we have a quick call just to talk about what you want from 2019 so that I can project this onto the painting? And I said, of course. And she asked me some really easy to answer questions. She asked me like, what is it that you want to achieve? How do you want to feel? What sort of words really represent what's important to you? What colours and gemstones are you attracted to? So we went through a series of questions which were dead easy for me to answer because I'd already done the work on my goals for 2019. Call didn't take long at all. I put the phone down and I didn't think too much more of it. Now, Ellen did say to me that part of producing this painting was going to be, she was going to give me a sacred soul reading. So this was going to be her going into a deep meditation, becoming a channel, channeling my soul basically, and having a conversation to find out what message, what do I need to hear, what wisdom do I need to hear in order to make my desires happen in 2019. And then she's going to conduct that meditation without me being present, take notes on what came out, and then she's going to run that past me to see if I resonate before she did the picture. So that's the process. Incredible, very intriguing. But as you can imagine, I was disconnected from all of that. I disconnected for months and I wasn't feeling it, and it wasn't my priority. I hadn't been making it a priority for months. So although I was grateful, I wasn't making it a priority. So I didn't think about it again, and I went on holiday and messaged me to say, I've done your sacred soul reading and I've emailed it across to you. Now, I'd deliberately not taken a device on holiday with me that I could access email from. And this is important to the story. I'd deliberately not done that because I committed to myself that I was going to completely unplug, because I put the way I was feeling down to burnout and needing a break. So I'd made that commitment. So I just thanked her and said I'll look at it when I get back. Now, I then took 2 weeks of total rest. Just in that week before Christmas and New Year, I felt called to sit down for the first time in months and do some guided writing. Now, what I call guided writing, some people would call journaling. I would have described it to you as journaling a few months ago because I'd have been embarrassed to say guided writing. That's the truth. I'm being really honest with you tonight. But it's more than journaling for me. When I say guided writing, it's about quieting my mind, connecting to that part of myself that knows, and just allowing the pen to move, asking a question and just allowing my pen to move and just come out with all of the answers and insights that I need for the questions that I've asked. Sometimes that can be like a half an hour quick process. Sometimes it can be hours. On this particular day, I was in the bedroom, on the bed, doing it for 3 hours. And it just all came out. And I was asking questions like, why do I not feel as excited? Why did I get so low in energy? Why? Because I hadn't processed it yet. I was just I'm in a funk and I don't know what's wrong with me. And this is what came out. And I want to share this with you because it's crucial to this story. There's 3 clear things that came out that I've summarised, but I've took some key words of what I actually wrote in that moment. So the first thing that came out is a few things happened last year that rocked your belief and faith in Source. You hadn't addressed it and took responsibility for how you were feeling. You ignored it, became more and more disconnected, and therefore experienced a kind of depression, like a spiritual crisis. Second big thing that came out was one of the big things that had caused this spiritual crisis was dealing with negative and jealous behaviour from people who are not aligned and in their power. You kept attracting more of the same because the universe keeps delivering you lessons until you act like you've learnt them. You didn't learn the lesson, step back into your divine aligned power, and therefore call in people that were also aligned. This is where this came from, like literally quieting my mind and going, what is it that I need to know? The third thing that came out is you are ready to incorporate spirituality into your work. This is part of your life's work and mission. Why do you continue to ignore it and not share it with people? ? Stop talking about mindset when that's not what you mean. You mean connection. It is safe in this lifetime for you to share the message of truth and light. Start now, start in 2019. When I wrote that, and kind of took a step back and read everything that and this is a great process, guys, one that I'd recommend to anybody with any issue, struggle, challenge, or something you perceive as a problem. Just get it out. You don't have to call it guided writing if it doesn't speak to you. Call it journaling. But it's amazing. It's amazing. And I had pages and pages of stuff. I've summarised it there for you, but when I sat back after it, I sat and just felt light. I felt like someone had breathed life into me again, and I suddenly realised what it felt like to feel aligned again and how beautiful that connection can be. It felt really incredible. But a day or so later, I decided to start this live series. I decided to incorporate more of the spirituality into my work, as I've said before. Still the same, no BS business strategy, but with a sprinkle of magic. Stop ignoring it. Stop not talking about it. Come out of the closet and shine your light. That was the message. So I decided to do that because the truth is I wouldn't be where I am today for sure without that connection. And I knew that in that moment. Now, what's really funny is I then shared on Facebook, and this is on my personal profile as evidence that I'm not bullshitting you now. I shared on my personal profile, this is what I'm going to be doing, guys. I'm not sure what I'm going to call the live series yet. Give me some ideas, which Joanne Jones, thank you very much, did. And I picked the Soul-Centered Millionaire, and I'll tell you why I picked that in a minute. Soul-Centered Millionaire TV. I decided it was going to be every Monday night at this time. I declared it on Facebook. Then Ellen messaged me a couple of days later and she said, Michelle, did you get a chance to listen to your soul reading? And And I was like, shit, how ungrateful. I haven't looked at it yet. Went into my email, I just got so busy that it was my bad I hadn't looked at it, and I felt awful. So I was like, shit, trying to open the email, it wouldn't bloody open, would you believe? So the Dropbox file she put in there wouldn't open, so I couldn't even watch it and then go, yeah, I've watched it. So I had to come clean and say, Ellen, I've not watched it, I'm really sorry, it won't let me open it, could you send it me again? So she sent it me there and then on WhatsApp, and I watched it. You will not believe what came out of that reading that Ellen did in meditation and channeled this information. So this is what she said to me, and I'm summarising it because it was a 20-25 minute audio that she sent me, but the key things, number one, she says, you teach 7 steps, Michelle, which I do in my programme, and she knows this. She knows that I teach 7 steps to 7 figures, simple business strategies. She says, but there's also 7 steps in terms of the spiritual world. Step 1 being not so enlightened, new soul, maybe first time here and like learning everything. And step 7 being very kind of enlightened and knowledgeable and an old soul. We've all heard the expression. She said to me, you're a step 7. It was beautiful to see. I've never read for someone before that has such an old soul. And it's time to incorporate that into your work, she said. She said, when I asked you what your goals were in 2019 and how you wanted to achieve them, you said to me that you wanted to progress with ease. This is the answer that your soul wants you to know on how to progress with ease. It's to bring more of that connection to source into the work that you do. On the front end, like feeding yourself up, but also on the back end too. She also said that she could see this beautiful garden, and in the garden was some roses, and on the roses was some thorns, and that those thorns represented people around me last year that were negative and jealous and that had really hurt me, and that had allowed them to get in and affect me on a spiritual level. Couldn't have been more accurate. Bear in mind that Ellen might be a client of mine, but we know each other on a professional level. It's not something I would have discussed with her. She had no way of knowing. Nobody knew the things that I've just shared with you. Only James, that's it, the only person that knew what I'd been through last year, this journaling experience, and my realisation of what I needed to do. No one knew. Definitely not Ellen. So I listened to her audio, and as I was listening, I just sat and cried. Because I know in that moment that this was a clear message from Source, and it was perfectly orchestrated the way it always is, with the right time to show me. It's like it had to happen that way, you know. I had to make my own mind up, journal on it, declare that this is what I was going to do, realise for myself, and then in comes Ellen with like the validation. That had been sat in my inbox since before Christmas. And it blows my mind still. So, here we are. That's what's brought us to today. I said I'd be totally honest with you, and that's what brings us to today in episode 1 of Soul Centered Millionaire TV. And the reason I picked that, and again, thank you, Joanne, is because I love it. It says everything that I want it to say about who I am and who I want to help. Yes, I've created a millionaire style lifestyle and business, and I'm very proud of it. And yes, I have some things to add value in the area of business strategy, but that's not where the story ends. This is about being soul-led. It's about being centered and grounded in who we are, and I'm talking about higher self, and knowing our potential in the world, and being able to tap into this energy, all-knowing energy, to create, be, have anything that we want to. That's what being a soulful millionaire for me is all about. It's about helping the world in some way, knowing that the world will be different because I was here. That means more to me than anything else in the world, and they're the people that I want to help, people that feel like that. So Soul Centered Millionaire TV just couldn't have said it better, and that's what this is going to be about weekly. It is your birthright. If you're listening to this now, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your background, or what you believe to be true right now, I promise you, it's your birthright to live a wealthy and abundant life. we can have love in abundance, money in abundance, time in abundance, success, impact, positive relationships, all of those things in abundance if we decide to choose them for ourselves and believe that there's a part of us that knows exactly how to get it and go within to find the answers on that. And that's what these weekly lives are going to be about. We're still going to be talking business strategy. I am committing to you to provide you with two things. The business strategy, as always, straight talking, not sugarcoating, the things that you need to know to run a successful online business. But the second thing that I'm committed to sharing with you is the sprinkle of magic on top. The alignment, the manifestation, the law of attraction, the connection to source, and all things woo-woo. If I'm judged, I'm judged. I've reached a stage in my life that I don't care anymore because I just feel like it's the right time to introduce this stuff. So what I also want you to know is I wouldn't describe myself as a spiritual teacher. I'm definitely not that at all. I wouldn't describe myself as spiritually gifted either. I just think that we all have the ability, every single one of us, to connect. And, you know, in that connection is where our life's work, purpose, infinite potential, abundance, and everything else that we want, all of our desires is in there. And that's the path that we're meant to be on. And that's available to you as much as it is to me. So I don't want you to see this as me becoming your guru on all things spiritual. It's not at all. I just want to provide you with regular inspirational input every week to help you keep that connection live. So I'd love you to help me start this with a boom. So there's a few things I'd love you to do. Three things. The first, I'd love you to share with me your story and with everybody else your story below. And when I say your story, you can call it a spiritual awakening. How did you awaken if you resonate with being spiritually awake? Or you could call it how you decided to follow the path to spirituality. You could call it how you found true alignment. You could anything that you feel was a real pivotal moment on this topic for you. Any story that you think will inspire. Even share if you don't resonate right now and you're like, I'm really confused by this stuff and I don't get it, say that too. I'd just love to see where you're all at. I would love more than anything to hear any story. Whether it's something really simple, this doesn't have to be like this huge story of, I was sick and dying and I healed myself and now I've lived for 30 years. I mean, those stories are amazing and there are plenty of them out there. But it can be in the really small things, like small things that you manifest, small things that reinforce your belief, synchronicities that you experience that confirm things for you. Share them all on this video, because the one thing that's really helped me in those moments where my belief's been shook and where I've felt scared and felt trapped by ego and fear and worried that maybe I'm just alone on this planet and there is no source and all of that, sometimes shit goes wrong and there's a big reason for it, there's a hidden reason, but we don't always see it at the time, and we can end up thinking things like, what? Like, I'm a good person, I've been doing X, Y, Z, why would this happen? And in those moments, stories have helped me. Other people's inspirational input and stories have massively helped me, and that's why I want to start this live with stories in the comments, because sharing inspires other people and it encourages people to stay on a path that ultimately serves you. And the other thing I'd love you to do is let's practice some of this going within and looking for guided inspiration. Like when you finished the live tonight, just ask the question, who do I feel called to share this with tonight? Who do I feel called to share episode 1 with? And tag them. And it might not even make sense to you. You might be like, why on earth do I feel called to share it with that person? It doesn't matter. Just share with whoever you feel called to, because it might be just what they need to hear in that moment. And the third thing I'd love you to do is just share on your page. Just hit the share button and share with something at the top that tells people why they might get a benefit from watching this video, or maybe even how you benefited from watching tonight. And I want to finish by thanking you for showing up for episode 1 and being part of this journey with me. I'm so incredibly excited to see what this live series brings in 2019, and I've got no idea what weird and wonderful things are going to come up and that I'm going to share with you every week, but I know it's going to be really cool, and I know we're going to have a lot of fun in the process. Thank you again, lots of love.